Today's podcast is sponsored by Security Unlocked, a new podcast from Microsoft focusing on artificial intelligence and machine learning in security. Check out the links in the description below. How's it going over there, Chippy?
Oh, man. I'm a little tired today. Plus, good news for you. We could be getting up to 12 inches of snow tomorrow.
I was just about to ask you, how do you feel about snow? We're supposed to get,
How do I feel?
Inches.
How do I feel?
Maybe you could be like me, Paul, where we were supposed to get 17 and we got 4.
Yeah, actually, so that often happens here. Before that big storm we were facing a storm, but it was going to be up to 18 inches or something, and we only got 5 or 7 or whatever, and that's usually how it goes. So, cross my fingers. Maybe I'll sacrifice a chicken or something. We'll see what, pull out the stops.
Sacrifice a chicken, put it in a stew, little broth, maybe some carrots.
You saw the movie Major League, right? Where they had a voodoo guy. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it. It's spectacular. But it's a Cleveland baseball team. There's a guy on the team who does voodoo, and he needs a chicken to sacrifice, so they brought him a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Which is good stuff. Anyway.
Here we
Aside from movie recommendations, what else is going on?
Microsoft announced a headset for Xbox yesterday, which actually looks... on paper, looks surprisingly good for 100 bones.
Yep, I agree.
I have some concerns, potentially. One, Paul, I don't know if you're familiar with this. I mean, this kind of happened in the fringes. Microsoft hardware, especially in the mobile space, doesn't hold up very well.
In the fringes. Brad, I just threw in the trash and a first generation Xbox Elite controller. So, yeah, I get it. And by the way, in my line of sight from here, I can see possibly as many as 5 Xbox controllers that are broken in some way. Like the thumbstick will stick, or the bumper will stick or something, because obviously I treat this thing like a gorilla, testing Samsonite laundry or luggage or whatever. But yeah, I obviously, right. I get it.
Yeah,
sure.
But
don't lose a game and throw this thing at the wall.
If they somehow found their mojo and they actually are going to build something that's not going to eventually fall apart after 18 months or so, or whatever the timeline is, it looks really good. I mean, it's got all the codec support you'd want. It's completely wireless. Connect your phone, your PC, and your console, and allow you to switch between them. And $100. So
here's the big feature to me. It's correctly color coded is that you can apparently connect this thing to a phone and your Xbox at the same time. The purpose of which is that you will participate in a work phone call.
Oh no, that's not why this is. That's no. The reason why this is a big deal is for a lot of people who use Discord for chat, and imagine if you're playing on a PC.
Oh no, by the way, I'm sorry. Just to be clear, Microsoft wrote this in their.
Oh, they wrote that?
Yeah. That's not something I came up with. Okay.
I don't know.
Just so you know.
What are they huffing at Redmond? But it's probably because they didn't want to mention Discord by name. But that's why, because people will be playing with their friends, because a lot of cross games, cross platforms, so they use Discord for chat, and obviously the Xbox doesn't support that. And so now you can just do that on your phone. You can have Discord chat, and you can play on your Xbox.
You gotta think that's got to be coming, right? Discord support.
Maybe. It would make sense, but...
Right, Xbox makes sense, yeah. Okay. Sure.
Anyways, that's coming, about a month? Something like that? March 16th?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
You can pre-order that now. It's also got the little dial things from the Surface. So, looks...
I mean, I had to look this up. Surface headphones were $400 when they launched? I mean, geez.
Well, they were on Woot. I don't know which iteration they were for $110, which if you can find a pair of Surface cans for $110, that's a good deal. I would not pay the $400 that they initially launched at.
Well, what is the big problem with the Surface headphones, Brian?
Well, they fall apart.
I mean, as far as compatibility.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You think the premium headphones that cost 4 times as much would work with everything? They don't.
Yeah. So those are that's there. A bunch of other stuff. If you use LastPass, you probably won't be for much longer.
Although, I have to say, there's a certain level of entitlement here with people that I'm having trouble with. And maybe it's because I create content. And it's kind of one of those tough things. Like, if people like us, I mean, back in the day, we could make a blog or whatever, make money off of ads. These days it's a little harder. And so you try to come up with different business models, and different places do different things. But a company like LastPass, which makes a password manager, they're not going to have a healthy ad business, right? So the expectation that some tool that you use, that you rely on and like, that works everywhere and does more than just passwords, by the way, but whatever, should always be free to you, is kind of bizarre to me. And yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of people are going to switch. To me, this is very reminiscent of what Sonos did a year ago, not because what they did was wrong, but because I feel like they kind of bungled the communication maybe. And maybe the exact positioning of what they were going to do, right? I think a lot of people are like, look, if you said this will only work on 2 to 4 devices of any type, maybe I wouldn't have complained. But you know what? Maybe that would be the better approach. But here's the reality: they still would have gotten the same complaints.
Yeah,
same number of complaints. Still would have gotten people, oh, that did it, I'm switching to Bitwarden or whatever. They're and 1Password, whatever. And it's like, guys, seriously, like, all these companies have the same need, and that need does not involve just giving you free stuff for the rest of your life. And I don't know. I know. I look, if you can't afford anything, all the platform makers have this capability built into their platforms. I mean, all of them do. They don't have the sharing and blah, 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 whatever, but you should be paying for sharing, shouldn't you? So you can use the Chrome thing that Google does across Android as well. You can use the Apple thing. iCloud works everywhere now. And Microsoft, of course, has it through Edge, which works everywhere now, by the way, too, if you want to. I happen to use the Microsoft Edge one. I had used the Google one for many years. Edge came around, I switched. It has nothing to do with money. If there was some value, and I look at things like this, when you switch to LastPass or 1Password, right? Last year, I looked at it and I thought about it. I used LastPass back in the day as well. In fact, I've paid for LastPass here and there for some reasons. I don't remember, but I just thought the vitriol at LastPass is like, it like I said, very reminiscent of Sonos. It's like, guys. It's like, I've spent thousands of dollars on these speakers. I'm never doing this again. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, what? I don't know. It just...
Look at you with a rational approach. Because, I mean, to your point, I pay for 1Password. And I don't think 1Password even has a free offering.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't even know. It just... Yeah, I mean, look, if money is a concern, which is understandable. I'm not denigrating anyone for not being able to afford all of the many things you could pay for. I mean, my God, we could spend money on everything. There are free solutions built into the platforms themselves. I mean, if you trust Google enough that you're using Android and Chrome on your Windows PC or whatever, maybe you just use Chrome. Yeah. I did. I don't now, but I mean, I wouldn't now. But there are choices. That's all. There have always been choices.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is perfectly synced. You'll see here in a second. Because my friends over at Microsoft have a new podcast called Security Unlocked, where they take a closer look at the latest innovations in threat intelligence, security research, and data science, with a special focus on demystifying artificial intelligence. And in a recent episode, actually number 12, they talk about passwords and going passwordless not using passwords, and how that can become a reality. You should definitely check that out. It'll be linked down in the description below. And I figured that was appropriately kind of timed up. We got passwords. We got all your passwords are belong to us episode, Security Unlocked. It's right there. EU has another complaint they can now read from Epic.
Yeah, I saw that announcement today. And I thought, wait, they haven't done this.
Yeah, I figured they had as well.
I mean, Epic sued Apple last August, I think, and then Google like the next day. Or maybe the same. I don't remember. But then I read the complaint, and it turns out that the EU, or I guess the what's the regulator? The European Commission is already investigating Apple for this exact thing. So other game or app makers and game makers have complained already. So they're already actually investigating. And I wonder if this show of support is timed to something like maybe we're going to start to see the EU, as it slowly moves its gigantic gears, issue something. I don't know. So we'll see. I will say Epic and anyone else that's complaining about Apple is going to get a much friendlier reaction from the EU than they are here in the United States, although the United States is also investigating Apple, of course. It's just that things move so slow over there. Not like here where everything moves. Government, You can take the camera off me now, thanks. So,
let it marinate there, like that chicken we were talking about earlier.
It just sweat just starts pouring down my face.
Keep digging, Throt. Keep digging. You'll find an answer eventually.
Are there any SharePoint fans in the audience?
It's one of the greatest. It's the greatest. Paul almost died after angering an entire crowd.
That was funny. Anyway.
Yeah. Microsoft also rolled out, there's 2 new features coming to Edge. There's a new kids mode that they are, first thing I thought of was, this is Kids Corner coming back for the browser.
Right.
That was, a long, was that a Joe Belfiore idea, Kids Corner? I just remember him.
It was a Windows Phone thing. I don't know if we ever found out who thought of that, but.
I just remember him demoing it on stage.
Yeah, what you just did by mentioning Kids Corner was the same effect as when you step on a crack and, you break someone's back or whatever. Like, people listening to this are all like, it's like another dagger right in the back.
So that's coming. There's also adaptive notifications, which I actually think is pretty smart.
Yeah, I do too. And, I'm a little suspicious of anything that is supposed to learn from your behavior or from the behavior of others, especially in the Microsoft space. But yeah, it's fair to say that the original implementation of notifications, which was very similar to what Chrome and probably other browsers do, was too annoying. And then the I forget what they call it, but the more subtle notification type that launched a few versions back is you can't even notice. You don't even know what's happening. So obviously there has to be some middle ground, and I think that's what they're trying to achieve. They'll probably adjust it over time, but this is probably the right approach.
Yeah. The more interesting thing to think about here is that none of this would have happened with the old Edge browser. None of it. They would take too long to get to all this point.
Oh my God! Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Right. So if you enjoy these features, you enjoy Chromium. Buy Chromium. Actually, you can't even buy it, but
don't buy Chromium. If you find yourself in a position where you're buying Chromium, something has gone wrong.
Or the EU has weighed in its heavy hand and said,
if you can pay for a password manager, how come you can't pay for a browser?
Oh God! Well, you used to. That's sort of how Microsoft.
Microsoft's big, gift to the community. Make browsers free for everybody.
Other things that are free, our podcast. Today's podcast was brought to you by Security Unlocked. You can find links down in the description below. Go to securityunlockedpodcast.com.